Welcome to Pound for Pound, the MMA podcast. And now, coming to the mic, your host, Jalen Walker.
Test, test. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pound for Pound, the MMA podcast. I'm your host, Jalen Walker. Let's get into it. Tonight, Shabanzan versus Brunson, UFC Fight Night. They're back in Vegas, the first event since Abu Dhabi. People are excited. They're back in the United States. Joe Rogan's back. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Before we get into that, I want to go over UFC Fight Night 174, Darren Till versus Whittaker. Man, what a win by Whittaker. He's still out there looking strong as ever. It was a good fight. Sucks for Darren Till. Where he goes after this loss, I'm not sure. If we go ahead and look at the rankings for middleweight, they got Yoel Romero right in front of him and Jack Hermanson. I honestly don't know what's going to happen with Darren Till. I know what's going to happen with Robert Whittaker. Hopefully he fights Jack Hermanson, and then whoever wins that goes after the winner of Costa and Adesanya, but that's interesting for the middleweight. Let's get into Shogun. Wow. Shogun is back, kind of. They're saying he wants to keep fighting. We're not sure at this point yet. It was a good fight. I went to decision, I believe. I went to decision. It's a great fight. Antonio Nogueira, he retired. Y'all kind of knew that was coming no matter what, win or loss. He's 44, 45 years old. It's just not safe at this point, at that age. But Shogun, man, he still has the cardio. Even Antonio, man, they both had the cardio for that age. And that was a really fun fight to watch. One of my favorite fights of the night. Upset between Alexander Gustafsson. Oh, man. That heel hook by Fabricio Verdum was nasty. He called it, too. He said he was going to get Alexander with any submission he could, and he got it off. And it was clean. You can't do anything against that. Can't say anything against that. Alexander, he was huge. He had his power. He had his speed. A lot more power this time. Interesting fight, though. And then I think the king of Fight Island, Khamzat, man. That boy is bad. 2 wins in 10 days. 2 wins in 10 days. Incredible. And now he's saying he promises he'll smash Conor McGregor's face in, just like Khabib. So we'll see what happens there. He's going to need a lot more fights before he fights Conor. A lot more fights. He's going to have to fight a few people in the top 10, make his way in there, and then possibly him and Conor can go at it. But I love his no-sense attitude. He just wants to fight. Doesn't really care about too much. If he's beaten up or whatever, clean, doesn't matter. He's ready to get in the ring, and he's ready to go at it. But all right, let's go ahead and get into UFC Vegas 5. Timur Valverde, Ray Borg, and Eric Spicely were all pulled from the Vegas 5 card. Featherweight Vincent Cachero will take over for Timur Valiev. Sorry, pronounced his last name wrong. While Johnny Munoz, he gets a short notice call up for the fill in for Borg at 145. And then Charles Otaveros was supposed to fill in for Spicely. However, they just scrapped that middleweight bout during the weigh-in, so that's not happening. Eric Spicely responded on Twitter, for the sake of the transparency, this was my first weight cut since starting antidepressants due to my head trauma I sustained in the Darren win fight. Needless to say, it went horribly wrong and my fight is off. I will figure this problem out and hopefully be able to compete again. So prayers out to him. Hopefully everything goes smoothly with him for his next fight. That's unfortunate due to antidepressants from his head injury. That he can't fight, couldn't get weight cut. So hopefully he gets everything sorted out, gets his trainers and his nutritionists. So hopefully we see him soon because he is very explosive and exciting fighter, and that was very unfortunate. No explanation was given for Valvev or Borg, but it's not the first time the Tasmanian Devil has withdrawn from a UFC card. Borg bailed back in June with another health scare from his baby boy, so that was unfortunate. So just not going the way people wanted to go. Just some health issues. Luckily, it's not COVID related. We're sticking away from that with the UFC, so they haven't had too much problems. Like baseball. Baseball is all over the place. So hats off to the UFC, Dana White, and all them for keeping these fighters as healthy as possible. All right, now what everybody is talking about this week. Dan Hardy and Herb Dean. As you guys know, Herb Dean had a couple questionable late stoppages at UFC Whittaker versus Till. It wasn't the Till Whittaker fight. I can't remember what fight it was, but basically, one of the first fight of nights, Herb Dean could have stopped the fight. Some guy took an extra couple punches to the head. He didn't need to. It's okay. It happens. It's not the best thing, but it happens. Well, it happened again a couple fights after that, and Dan Hardy, who's known for confronting, saying what he means to say, he's a commentator. He basically was yelling, "Stop the fight, stop the fight, stop the fight." And Herb Dean was doing his job, looking at the fight, looking at the fighter, making sure he was going. The fighter was still there. And then basically what happened was after the fight, Dan Hardy stood up, had a confrontation with Herb Dean, basically saying like all this stuff about like you need to like focus, you need to figure out when to stop him. You can't let that guy take that punishment. But on the flip side, Dan Hardy doesn't need to be saying anything to the officials at all. Herb Dean knows what he's doing, and if something happens, that's on him. You don't need someone yelling, stop the fight, because you might think something else is wrong. Like, hey, stop the fight. We see something you don't, but you're just a commentator. Like, you can't just put your 2 cents into it. Like, you can say, oh, I think the fight should be stopped, but you shouldn't be sitting there, stop the fight, stop the fight. No, you can't do that. So basically, Dan Hardy attacked referee Herb Dean for the late stoppage, and yeah, it was against Francisco Trinaldo versus Ja Herbert. Dana White has come out and he has taken the side of Herb Dean, saying, if you work for me and you approach a judge or a referee or any type of official, I will fire you. You will lose your job. You will never work for me again if you do that. So basically, very strong stance. I believe there was an investigation, but I think they just gave Dan Hardy a warning. But still, I think he just needs to stay in his place. Other MMA officials have chimed in saying that they back Herb Dean's choice, saying it was not a late stoppage. And when it comes to MMA, people get mad when they don't let him fight, and say a fighter's getting beat up, but then they stop and he stands straight up. People get mad when they see a ref do that. They're like, oh, you should have let him fight. You should let him fight. Herb Dean and Big Dan, like those type of refs, they're going to give that fighter a chance. And if that fighter takes a couple extra hits to the face, I'm pretty sure that fighter is going to say that's okay for them in the long run, because that gives them that extra chance to get that extra $50,000 bonus, or get that win, or get that title shot. Like Dana White said it perfectly, the UFC is not a career. It is an opportunity. And these guys want as many opportunities as they can. They're going to take every second, every minute, every opportunity they get. So I'm pretty sure that fighter was side with Herb Dean on that part too. He probably appreciates him letting him fight, trying to get out of it. So I honestly think it was a punch or two late, but you can't get mad. You gotta trust in Herb Dean as one of the best officials in MMA. He doesn't just do UFC. He does everything just like a lot of the other officials, but he knows what he's doing. You can't get in his face and embarrass him and the UFC and the officials like that in what Dan Hardy did. And I just think it was out of place, and I think he should never do that again, and I don't think he ever will, because Dana has made it clear, you do that, you're out. And I think he wants to keep his job. So I think he's going to keep his mouth shut when it comes to talking to officials or anything like that. Kind of in the same realm, I'm going to botch this guy's name, but on UAE Warriors last night, Ahmad Al-Damaka DQ'd after grappling with ref Mark Goddard after his submission win. So basically, I don't have the video or anything. Basically, what happened was Ahmad had the guy in a rear naked choke. The guy was out, and Mark Goddard tried to come in and stop him and separate him, and the guy wasn't letting go. And so he got a little rough with him, Mark, and then he was like, finally separate him. Well, when the guy got separated and came to his feet, he came after Mark, and he was starting to grab his arm, push on him. Mark got in his face, was saying no, no. Commentators going crazy. Everyone in the arena there is going crazy, and they're just not understanding what this guy's doing. And finally, I think he kind of comes to his senses, and he just like hops away and then like starts celebrating. But for a second there, I thought something was gonna happen there, but Mark Goddard is not the person you want to do that with. I'm sorry, that is the last ref I'm gonna do that with, because he is no nonsense. He'll put you in your place, and if it would have went any farther, I don't know what would have happened. But Ahmad Al Damaka DQ'd after grappling ref Mark Goddard after a submission win. Insane. All right, let's get into the betting odds for tonight real quick. Edmund Shabazyan, he is favored at minus 310. Joanne Calderwood is favored at minus 155. Vincent Luque minus 195. Lando Vanada minus 155, and Kevin Holland at minus 220. Interesting. Oh yeah, and then sorry, you got Gerald Merson. One second, I didn't. Gerald Merson he's minus 180. Sorry about that. Kind of the biggest favorite on the card tonight is the main event with Edmund Shabazyan versus Brunson. Pretty heavily favored main event. We'll get into Edmund later and his reign in the UFC right now, but we're gonna go ahead and start out with the first card, or the first fight. There's 6 fights on the main card tonight. These fights have been stacked. Last week was great. All the fights have been just entertaining. Some boring fights here and there, but it's still very good wrestling and jiu-jitsu. So it keeps you entertained. But let's go ahead and start with the first fight. Let me go ahead and pull it up here. Kevin Holland versus Trevin Giles. It's a middleweight battle. It's two fighters' chance to crack the top 15 at 170. I'm excited. I was watching a little bit on these two guys. Trevin looks super powerful, and then Kevin just looks very. His technique is there. He knows what he's doing. His striking, it's very on point. No exerted effort. Holland, he's 17-5 in his career, but he's 4-2 in the UFC. He had a TKO with 39 seconds in the first round against Anthony Hernandez, which was pretty epic. It was with an elbow and a knee combination. He tried to come back like 2 weeks after that to fight Daniel Rodriguez, but I think it was an injury forced it off. I can't remember exactly. But he has a reach advantage on Trevin Giles tonight, and he's averaging 4.29 strikes per minute in the UFC octagon. So that's not too bad. It's kind of consistent. It's better than Trevin Giles. Giles is he's 12-2 in his career with 10 career stoppages, and he's 3-2 in the UFC. The Problem is his nickname. He's from Houston. He was undefeated. Wasn't he? I gotta look this up. I think he was undefeated before back-to-back. Let's see again. Yeah, he was undefeated before back-to-back submissions against Zach Cummings and Gerald Mercer in 2019. Yeah. And then he took a year off before that to go to the police academy in his hometown of Houston to be a police officer. And that's why he wasn't in the octagon for a while. But he averages 3.61 strikes per minute, and he has 1.47 takedown average. So I don't know. It's going to be an interesting fight. It's still up in the air for me. You got Holland coming off that crazy Anthony Hernandez win. So I think he's going to be explosive. He's only lost to Allen in the past fight. Now, yeah, that was second round. But yeah, that Anthony Hernandez knockout in the first round. I think it was like 30 seconds, 40 seconds, something like that. It was nasty, man. It was some good fighting. All right, let's go ahead and move on to these two exciting mat-based fighters. You got Ed Short Fuse Herman and Gerald Mercer. You got Herman at 26-14. At the age of 39, his UFC debut was in 2006. So he's kind of a veteran when you really think about it. Any fighter, so how they do a lot of Hall of Fame UFC, they do pre-modern era. So like basically before in UFC, anybody could fight anybody. There wasn't really weight classes. And then after the tournament style, Ken Shamrock and all them, they were like the first like weight classes. And then like Tito came, and then Chuck, and all those fighters, you know what I mean? And like GSP, all those early fighters and stuff like that. So those fighters came in early. There wasn't really weight classes before all that. I mean, sumo guys were fighting karate guys. Like, I suggest, if you haven't, I believe it's on YouTube, UFC 1. I could be wrong, but I believe it's Joe Brown. Literally, Joe Brown is the commentating with somebody else. And it is the most absurd, exotic, anything fighting you will watch. The fights were insane. Because once you won, you moved on to the next round. You were fighting in an hour or two. And then that whole night, and then you had to fight like 2 or 3 times, and then you would fight for the champion. And that was the Ultimate Fighter champion. That's how UFC first came about. So all these guys that are around the 2000, they're like the modern era, like to me, like the Hall of Famers, the people that are gonna be the Hall of Famers. But pre-2000, that's like the pre-modern UFC fighters. But yeah, Short Fuse has been in it for a while, since 2006. He brings 7 career KOs with 13 submission wins in the octagon. He averages 2.2 takedowns per 15 minutes alongside 3.3 strikes per minute. His only fight for the title was a loss. I think it was against, I can't remember, but it was Ultimate Fighter 3. That was his only time he ever had a title. Yeah, Ultimate Fighter 3. Yeah, I said that right, 3. So, interesting in Short Fuse. Gerald Mercer, he's 31-13. He gets back in the octagon after, I gotta start writing stuff down. I think it was like a 70-second loss to Ian Isaac, or what was it? Yeah, I think it was like 76, something like that. It was on June 6th or something like that. But it wasn't with the UFC. Sorry, it was with another promotion. Yeah, he has 29 career stoppages, 25 submissions. He wants to fight anybody. He's known for wanting to fight anybody, and ready to fight anybody. And I think he's really about that life. If you want to fight him in a parking lot, I'm pretty sure you can call him up and he'll meet you there, and he's ready. He just loves to fight. He loves to practice his technique and what he's good at. You know what I mean? I mean, a lot of these fighters are. He said he'll fight at any weight class too. Like, he said he will make it happen. Kind of like how Max is joking with DC, and he said he wants to gain some weight and like move up in weight classes, but we all know that's never gonna happen. This is DC's final fight against Stipe, which we'll talk about that either today or next week. But that's the big one coming up. Stipe Mikhaić versus Daniel Cormier. The trilogy ends. Probably one of the biggest heavyweight fights in UFC history. So we're all excited for that. But let's get back to Gerald Mercer. In 44 fights, he's had 44 fights, and he's 32 years old. He has 2.34 takedowns for every 15 minutes in the octagon. So it's not that great. I mean, you need a little bit more going against Short Fuse. Hopefully, he can get him to the ground, because Herman's he's gonna light him up. I think he's gonna try to come out, even though Herman's coming off a unanimous decision for a 3-round fight. But before that, he had a first-round knockout in like 3 minutes against Cummins. So exciting stuff. Let's go ahead and move on to Lando, Vanada, and Bobby Green. Vanada is 11-4-2 with the rare 3-4-2 record in the UFC. Very rare, very awkward record he has there. I don't know where you really do with that, to be honest with you. 3-4-2, that's just a little complicated. He lands 4.72 strikes per minute, but he only has 2 takedowns in the last 4 fights. 2 takedowns in 4 fights. I mean, some people don't have any takedowns, but 2 takedowns in the last 4 fights. So hopefully they're going to work on that ground game. Maybe that might not even be his plan this come around. He might stay on the feet, strike, attack, stuff like that. So we'll see what happens there. Where are we at? Sorry about that. He's from New Jersey, and he was 8-0 with 7 stoppages on the independent circuit before joining the UFC in 2016. So he was on a roll before coming to UFC, but as we know, once you're in the UFC, that's when the real challenges start. That's when you really got to fight the best in the world. You're not going to be fighting some scrubs that are just signing up and, you know what I mean? Like, these guys are here for real, and this is the real deal, and people have proven that. People have coming in to the UFC with undefeated records, and they've left with almost as much losses as many wins as they had coming in. So UFC is no joke. It's the highest ground for this MMA battle, and Lando needs to turn it around if he wants to get paid, to be honest with you, because 3-4-2 is not a good record. That's not something Dana's looking at, saying, "Oh yeah, we need to book this guy," or any of the matchmakers. So get that turned around. Green is a veteran. Bobby Green, he's 33. He's 25-10-1. It's a pretty decent record in my books. It shows what you have done. You've had some flaws in your career, but you're a good middle of the card fighter. Exactly where he's at almost. He's 6-5-1 in the UFC, and he's 2-2 in his last 4 fights. All unanimous decision. He fights out of Redlands, California with Pinnacle Fighting System. I can't remember who else fights with them, but it's someone, but I'll have to get back to that. He won his first 2 fights with the UFC by stoppage, but he's yet to end a fight early since like 2014, I think. Let me look that up. I think he hasn't ended a fight early since 2014. It's all being unanimous decisions, loss and wins. Yeah, 2014 was his last stoppage. So he's got to turn that around. But we'll come back to that. It's a good fight, I think. I think Bobby Green's going to show up a little bit there, and he might manhandle Lando, or we might see the opposite. Lando might kick it in. You know what I mean? He is coming off a win. They're both coming off a 3-round unanimous decision win. So we'll see what's happening there. All right, Vincent Luque, he's 18-7-1, and he's going against Randy Brown, who's 12-3. I'm personally excited for this fight. I love Vincent Luque. Sorry, my bad. He's 18-7-1 with his MMA professional career, and he has an impressive 11-3 record in UFC. That's pretty good in the UFC. If you got 3 or less losses in UFC and you at least got 10 wins, like, I mean, there's some room for them to do something with you. So you'll be getting that money there. But he has 11-3 record in UFC since 2015. He's from Brazil. This guy's more of you'll see he's more of a stand-up specialist. As I'll say, he's very good at striking. He does not want to go to the ground. His strengths do lie in that jab and that hook he has. So we'll see what happens there. He lands 5.66 strikes per minute on average. And it just, he only, what is it? 0.73 takedowns per 3 rounds. So he's not really going for takedowns. If he's going for a takedown, it's in a last-ditch effort just because he's struggling. So he's going to try to keep it on the feet. He's won, 7 of the last 8 bouts. So this is really his chance to crack the top 10 with this victory if he wants to sneak up in there. I really don't want to say or get into who's going to be taken out of the welterweights top 10. Well, let me look. How do I want to do this? Yeah, if he makes his way into the top 10, they're most likely going to have to. Yeah, Vincent he'll probably switch for Rafael Dos Anjos or Geoff Neal. I'm not sure. It all depends on how the matchmakers want to look at it and how Dana White's feeling. I always wondered how when it comes down to it, if you got 2 guys with wins, who do you push out of the top 10? How do you make that adjustment? Do you push a guy that's ranked number 10 with a win, and you got a guy coming in at ranked 11 that just had a glorious win that had a clean knockout compared to just a clean decision? How do you switch those guys? That's what I want to know. I would love to hear more about that, but I'm not sure. So he just wants to get into the top 10 with this victory. he's had 6 submissions and 18 wins. And yeah, he's just a very exciting fighter, man. You'll see tonight. He's just very in it. You can tell he's there to make something go viral, as I'll say. He's there to make a statement, to be a showstopper. But yeah, he's going against Randy Brown, who's 12-3 overall in his career, but he's 6-3 in the UFC. He has 10 career stoppages as well, so it's pretty impressive when you can stop another guy 10 times in the UFC or MMA. But he's a Jamaican, and he won the performance of the night. I don't know if he lives in Jamaica or trains out of Jamaica anymore. I'm not sure where he's stationed out of. I should look that up. But I'm actually very interested in that because some of the fighters and coaching in Jamaica I've heard is starting to get up there and starting to become very elite. But he won performance of the night with a triangle choke against Warley Alves in the second round. So that was awesome. I remember watching that fight. And he has 3.41 strikes per minute against wait, did I read that right? Yeah, sorry. 3.41 strikes per minute and 0.95 takedowns per 15 minutes. So no takedown game from Randy Brown. If Luque is smart, he might just try to like piece him up a lot and then take him down just for points, but that's not really a specialty. So we're gonna see what's happening. They're both stand up and strikers, but you got Luque coming with close to that 6 strikes per minute average, and you only got Randy Brown at that 3.5. You know what I mean? So I think Luca's gonna land a lot more punches. He's gonna be a lot more efficient in the stand up game, and I think he's gonna prevail over that. Let's go ahead and move on to Joanne Calderwood versus Jennifer Maia. I'm personally excited about this fight. Because I want Joanne win because she wants her shot at Valentino Shevchenko, and I think that would be an amazing title fight. So we'll see what happens there. But she'll have to get this victory over Maia. She's 14-4 in an MMA career and 6-4 in the UFC. I think she's one of the most active fighters on the roster. She's been fighting a lot. And she's a company fighter. Like, she's ready to go. Not a lot to do with weight cutting. Give her maybe like 2-3 weeks, 4 weeks. She could do it. You can give her 2 weeks and she's probably ready to fight. So those are the fighters that they really want. And I think the UFC in time will transition to, all right, we announced a fight. You got 4 weeks. So I think cutting those times down, getting these supreme athletes and these younger kids that are hungry, that want to fight, that understand that they need fights quick. I think that's going to change the game of the UFC and the evolution of the UFC. Even not even 4 weeks, 5 weeks possibly, but people have proven it over and over. And yeah, if you still need like that 8-week training camp, go ahead. That's still an option, but let there be some people in there that, hey, a month from now we want you to fight, blah blah blah, and they sign. That's what the UFC needs, and that's what they want. And that's what they're kind of doing. You guys, sorry, kind of lost my train of thought there. What's his name? Khamzat. He fought twice in 2 days and won, and he looked great. Looked absolutely great. So I'm not putting anyone down, but I'm thinking that's where the UFC is gonna head soon. 1 month and then they fight. So we'll see what happens. I think a lot's gonna happen when they go back to Abu Dhabi too. I think a lot more fighters might fight twice. They've seen Khamzat do it, and I can't remember who else did it, but I think they people are very hungry to fight and very hungry to fight right now with the stage that the UFC has. I mean, it's going to be a little bit conflicting now since baseball and basketball has started, but I still think all the eyes are going to be on UFC on Saturdays, even when they go back to Abu Dhabi, even here in Las Vegas. Tonight, I don't know if it's going to be one of the biggest viewings of UFC, but it's a good card, you know what I mean? I think a lot of people are interested. The main event is very interesting, and you got Vincent Luca, like we're talking about right now. He's gonna be fighting, so we'll see what happens with the ratings. But ESPN has been pushing UFC a lot with that partnership, so hopefully they keep it relevant, letting people know. And that's why we're here too, because we want to let people know that there are fights almost every weekend right now, and I just want to keep you guys informed. All right, getting back to it. Randy Brown, Vincent Luca, very interesting fight. Let's go ahead and move on to Joanne Calderwood. That's where we were. All right, back to Joanne. She has 1.85 takedowns per minute, per bout, not per minute, per bout. So barely getting 2 takedowns per match. But she has 6.19 significant strikes per minute with a 47% accuracy. That is insane. That doesn't sound that crazy, but that is. Come on, man. She is landing 47% of her throws. Like, that doesn't sound like a lot, but 6.19 significant strikes per minute. Come on, I would not want to be in front of her. I'm telling you the truth. She doesn't possess any like stopping power though. I think she's only had 5 KOs and 1 submission in her career. So she's more of like, hey, let's get my points, but at the same time, I'm gonna tear you down. I'm gonna wear you down. I'm gonna show the judges what I'm about, and you're gonna be in for hurting. Personally, I'd rather just get knocked out. I'd rather not go 3 rounds of just getting destroyed and then not getting. I mean, I never want to get knocked out if I fight, but you know what I mean. Like, I'd rather get it over with than take a beating and not have a chance to coming back. So we're gonna see what happens there. Jennifer Maia, she's 17-6-1 with a UFC record of 2-2. All 4 of her fights since reaching her promotion have gone the distance. She lost to Caitlin Chukagan. I can't pronounce her name. Chukagan. The only common opponent for both fighters in this bout. You know what I mean? But she lands 4.05 strikes per minute. And she's only attempted 1 takedown, I think. And yeah, she's only attempted 1 takedown in the promotion. So I don't think she's going to be trying to take her down at all. I think she's going to want to take her down, but she's not going to be able to. I think Joanne Calderwood is gonna really take over this fight. I think she's going to really piece her up here and there. She's going to get her points. She's going to move her around the ring. She's going to stay active. And I think it's going to be a very impressive performance by Joanne Calderwood. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the main event of the evening. Before we get into the picks, Derrick Brunson, 20-7 versus Edmund, the Golden Boy, Shabazyan, who's 11-0. All right, let's get into this. Let's break this one down. All right, we got Brunson. He's 20-7 as an MMA fighter. He's number 8 in the middleweight. And his record for the UFC is 11-5. 11-5. So, very interesting record. I know he wants to move up to the top 5, but even with the win here, I don't think he can move into the top 5, 6 maybe. Dana might give it to him. But this is all determining if he wins. You know what I mean? Like, where is he? Yeah, because you got. I mean, this is what's gonna happen. You got Darren Till, Kelvin Gastelum, both coming off a loss, right? They're 6 and 7. Darren 6, Kelvin 7. Okay, you got Edmund at 9. You got Derrick Brunson at 8. If Derrick Brunson wins this fight, he immediately goes to 6. Darren Till 7, Kelvin 8. If Edmund wins, I think they just switch Edmund and Derrick could be 8 or 9, and Edmund would be 8th in the world. But if Derrick wins, which I'm not sure is going to happen, he'll become 6th in the world. And maybe his next fight, I could see him fighting Yoel Romero, which would be actually, Derrick Brunson versus Yoel Romero would actually be a pretty interesting fight. I don't think Yoel Romero will do what he did against Adesanya and try to counter the whole time and wait. But yeah, if Derrick Brunson wins this fight, I think he'll move past Kelvin Gastelum and Darren Till to take the 6th overall spot in the world for middleweight. Darren moves to 7, Kelvin moves to 8, and Edmund stays at 9. Or they move Edmund after the loss if it's worse enough and move Uriah Hall up. But I don't see that happen. But I can definitely see Derrick Brunson moving up past Kelvin Gastelum and Darren Till. But it all depends. I'm not sure if Kelvin or Darren have fought Brunson. So that could also weigh into the factor. I'm not sure on that. But interesting fight. You got you got Brunson with an excellent stand-up and ground game. He has 3.39 strikes per minute and 2.8 takedowns per 15 minutes. And that's in 16 fights. That's not just like a small, like, 5 fights. That's 16 fights. So he's very consistent. His stand-up game is very vast in his ground game. His ground game's not as quick as some people, but he's strong. He can get you down there and hold you down there like glue. And he's coming off 2 wins also. He was a 3-time D2 All-American wrestler also. So you got a lot of wrestlers and champions. You know what I mean? You got DC, Henry Cejudo, tons of names. We don't need to get into them. He needs this win to move up the division for sure. He wants that title shot, but I don't think he's gonna get it. He already fought Robert Whittaker and legend Anderson Silva, but he's never fought for the UFC Gold. And with this stacked middleweight division, I don't think Brunson could beat Costa, Whittaker, Adesanya, Hermanson, or Jared. I don't think. I think he could beat Yoel, but that's it. I think he would stop at 5. So the matchmakers really got to think about if they do put him, if he wins and he goes to 6 or 5 or whatever, what's he going to do from there? What's really going to happen? Are they going to be able to make money off of him? Are the pay-per-views going to sell? That's the real question. All right, let's go ahead and look at Golden Boy, Edmund Shabazyan. Shabazyan is 11-0. And it's a clean 11-0, man. His 4 main roster UFC fights include a decision in his first appearance on the UFC. Then he went for 3 straight first-round stoppages. Come out, stoppage, and then right after that, 3 first-round stoppages back-to-back. So you got to give it to him. He had one of those stoppages was a TKO, and the other 2 were submission, I believe. And then 1 by knockout, maybe. I'm not sure. But in those 3 fights, he only spent a total of 4 minutes and 17 seconds in the ring. My God, 4 minutes and 17 seconds in his last 3 fights. Pretty impressive. Or no, yeah. And across those 3 fights, he landed 40 significant strikes. Come on. And only taken 4. He's landed 40 significant strikes and only been hit 4 times. With significant strikes. That's crazy. That's insane. But yeah, he's 11-0. He's a dynamic fighter. I think he's really, really excited to be here to fight in this main event. But yeah, he's explosive. I don't even know how to explain a fighter like Golden Boy because we haven't really seen him against like the likes of the top of the division, you know what I mean? Like we got to see him fight some real fighters, not these people, and that's what's going to happen tonight. If he beats Brunson, he's going to move up. I think he will. He has a few names on his on his list, but I think this is his time to move up, but if Brunson does, I think Brunson goes to 6. And if Edmund wins, I think he'll at least go to 7. I don't think they're going to put him at 6. 7 possibly. But Shabazyan, he served as a training partner for Ronda Rousey as a teenager. And he fought out of Glendale, California. And like I said, he's ranked number 9 in the division. But 40 significant strikes, and only taken 4 significant strikes in his last 3 fights. I gotta say that one more time. In his last 3 fights, he's landed over 40 significant strikes and been hit by 4 significant strikes. That's pretty impressive. That's pretty damn impressive. But all right, Andrew, if you want to go ahead and change it over to the picks, let's go ahead and get into this, guys. I'm excited about this. Let's go ahead and start with Kevin Holland versus Trevin Giles. I went ahead. I think I got Kevin Holland's gonna take this. I'm pretty sure. Get up. Yeah, there we go. I think Kevin Holland, even though he only has a 4-2 mark in the UFC, he's 17-5 in his career. I think that knee elbow combinations against Anthony Hernandez was nasty, and I think we might get something similar to that. And I'm really excited. I'm really pumped about this fight. He has the reach advantage, 4.29 strikes per minute. So yeah, we're going Kevin Holland. All right. Next, these two wrestlers, Ed Shortfuse Herman versus Gerald Mercer. I'm going ahead and go with Gerald Mercer. I'm pretty confident in this. He lost to Ian Heisek, or I'm not sure how you pronounce his name, but I think he's going to turn around here. That can't be right. Sorry, I was looking at this stat, but I don't think that's correct. Yeah, this stat's not correct. That's for somebody else. But yeah, I think all 44 of his fights, he has that veteran mindset. So we'll see what happens. But it's going to be a wrestling match, and it probably will go to decision. I don't see anybody really getting knocked out. But if someone gets knocked out, it'll be probably a little bit later on. I think they're going to grapple fairly early, and they're going to keep it on the ground for most of the fight. All right, let's go ahead and move to Lando Vanada versus Bobby Green. I got Lando here. Yep. I know it's crazy. Sounds crazy. I know. But I don't know. I see him coming out and prevailing over Bobby Green. I think Lando's going to really just let it loose. I think he's going to let those hands go. I think he's going to try to get as many hits as he can and get those points. And then if he wins round 1 or 2, if he wins both of them, I think he'll come out in the third round and play it safe and just counter everything Bobby's going to throw at him. But we'll see. You never know in the UFC. I could be completely wrong right now. We can go out here and Bobby Green could throw a kick, for all we know, a roundhouse, and knock out Lando. So we never know, but I think Vanada is going to come out, and I think he's going to get his hands on him, and he's not going to stop. So we'll see what happens to him. All right, Vincent Luque versus Randy Brown. Like I said, one of my favorite fights, I think, and I think Luque is going to come out victorious in this one. His striking is just he's a stand-up specialist, man. I think he's going to put him on the ground fairly early. I think he's going to piece him up. I think Randy's not going to be able to understand what's happening. I think he's going to get hit and dazed, and then it's going to be a stoppage. But yeah, Luque, he's too powerful, man. But if Randy Brown finds a way to take Luque down, I don't think Luque will be able to stop it. I think he'll have to ground and pound and move around, and it's going to be a battle. But I think Luca's going to come out and get that knockout victory. I'll say second round. Second or third round. Second or third round. All right, Joanne Calderwood versus Jennifer Maia. I got Calderwood. I'm pretty confident about this one. Her strike game is out of this world. She's averaging more strikes per minute at 6.19 than a lot of these fighters on the card. You know what I mean? She's 47% accuracy. She has at least one average takedown per match. So I think it's a no-brainer for me. Like I said, anything could happen, so we really never know. Jennifer Maia's only attempted one takedown in her career, so I don't think she's going to really try to take down Calderwood, which sucks for Jennifer Maia because Calderwood's going to piece her to death. I honestly believe that. All right, the main event of the evening. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. All right, the main event of the evening, Derrick Brunson versus Edmund, the Golden Boy, Shabanzan. I got the Golden Boy 11-0. I think he's one of the big upcoming stars in the UFC. Like I said, he's only spent a total in his last 3 fights 4 minutes and 17 seconds in the ring. 40 significant strikes, and he's been hit 4 times with significant strikes in his last 3 fights. This boy is bad. He's going to put his name on the map tonight. I think he's going to get that performance bonus, and I think we're all going to be talking about him tomorrow and next week, and I think he's going to have a nice conversation with Dana White after this fight if it goes well. If not, Brunson wins. Like I said, I think they move Darren Till and Kelvin Gastelum down to 7 and 8 and move him up to 6. If Edmund wins, I think he goes from 9 to 7. I don't think he'll put him up at 6, but who knows? If it's a good enough performance, they might just throw him all the way up there and move Yoel Romero down too, because I don't think Yoel Romero should not be ranked 5 in middleweight right now. I mean, they took him down a ton after losing to Adesanya, but I don't know. Still very interesting. All the fights are interesting tonight. There's only a few like clear victories that I see in my head. But it could go either way with all these fights. Vincent Luca, Randy Brown, super excited about that. Derrick Brunson, of course, versus the Golden Boy. Going to be a great fight. Joanne Calderwood. It's going to be an epic striking battle between her and Jennifer Maia. Lando Vanada and Bobby Green is going to be an epic battle. Ed Herman and Gerald Mercer. Epic battle we're looking like. And Kevin Holland, Trevin Giles. We'll see how they open up the night. They'll set the mood for a lot of the night. Hopefully we get lots of KOs, lots of submissions. Hopefully I'm right in my picks. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you tune in. I believe all the fights are on UFC tonight. I think they're on UFC Plus, but I think you can just have regular UFC for the fights. I'm pretty sure tonight. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed tonight. UFC Vegas 5 Fight Night. Brunson versus Shabanzan. But I'm your host, Gerald Walker, and this has been Pound for Pound MMA podcast. Have a nice day, guys.